The latest episode of the ITV soap confirmed that abuser Theo Silverton, James Cartwright, was the villain who perished on April 23rd, concluding a 3-month-long mystery as fans attempted to work out who died following a flash-forward scene to the night in question. In typical Weatherfield fashion, questions are asked, and the police investigation gets underway as Kit Green, Jacob Roberts, makes it his mission to get to the bottom of what happened to Theo. But will he succeed? That is a question you'll have to wait until next week to find out, but if you'd like a little taster of what's to come on the nation's most favorite fictional street, then you're in luck, as we have a first look with brand new video clips below. Monday, May 4th. Kit pops over to number 11 to speak to Todd about Theo's death. They talk about the possibility of Theo having taken his own life, with George reminding the detective that he subjected Todd to coercive control and physical abuse. Mary wonders if Theo was murdered, much to the shock of those around her. Todd asks Kit if he reckons he had a role to play in the abuser's death, but Kit reiterates that he's just there to gather evidence. Todd appears unnerved. Tuesday, May 5th. Melanie talks to Will about the possibility of coming away with her, but Ben interrupts, prompting his son to head off. Ben and Melanie row about what's best for Will, with Ben revealing that Megan had an abortion. Eva arrives, urging them to keep their voices down as the whole pub can hear them. She encourages them to have a chat like adults, but Ben opts instead to go for a walk. Can Eva get through to them? Thursday, May 7th. Daniel tells Hope to write a poem. Hope refuses, claiming she can't just summon her creativity, but Daniel's not buying it, handing her a pen and notebook. Hope makes up a rhyme aloud, mocking him over his relationship with abuser Megan Walsh, leaving Daniel irate as he grabs the notebook back from her. Hope accuses him of assault and says she intends to report him to Mrs. Crawshaw. Daniel looks very worried. The rain never quite washed away the truth in Weatherfield. It only smeared it, like blood dragged across cobbles, like whispers carried from one doorway to the next. And now, in the aftermath of the unthinkable, the street was no longer just a place. It was a crime scene wearing a familiar face. In the latest wave of spoiler videos from Coronation Street, the camera lingers longer than usual. Faces aren't just worried, they're calculating. Every glance feels loaded. Every silence feels like a confession waiting to happen. The body has been found. That much is certain. But who did it? It begins with Sarah. Sarah Platt stands at the edge of the police tape, her arms wrapped tightly around herself, as if she can physically hold in the dread. She wasn't supposed to be here, not like this. Not staring at flashing blue lights reflecting off wet stone. She saw something. Or maybe she didn't. That's the problem. Her memory flickers like a faulty bulb. A shadow moving too fast, a voice raised in anger, a door slamming somewhere down the street. Nothing solid. Nothing she can swear to. But enough to make her afraid. Inside the Rovers' return, the usual warmth is gone. Jenny Connor pours drinks with trembling hands. The pub should be buzzing, laughter, gossip, the comforting hum of normal life. But instead, it feels like a waiting room for bad news. Every customer has a theory. It had to be someone close, one mutters. No outsider could do this, says another. And just like that, the finger-pointing begins. Then there's Gary. Gary Windass has always walked a fine line between protector and threat. But now, that line has blurred completely. The spoiler clips show him in fragments, tense, defensive, his jaw clenched as questions come too quickly and answers come too slow. Where were you last night? It's a simple question. But in Weatherfield, simple questions rarely have simple answers. Gary's past hangs over him like a storm cloud. People remember. They always do. And when fear takes hold, memory becomes a weapon. Is he capable of it? That's what everyone is asking. But suspicion doesn't stop there. Because in a place like this, everyone has something to hide. A glance between two characters lasts a second too long. A conversation cuts off the moment someone enters the room. Secrets, once buried, are clawing their way to the surface. The spoiler videos tease it all with ruthless precision. Quick cuts, dramatic music, a hand gripping a glass too tightly, a tear falling at just the wrong moment. And then the accusation. It happens in the middle of the street. Voices rise. Neighbors gather. The tension finally snaps. You did this. The words hang in the air like a gunshot. And suddenly, the entire street turns. Eyes lock onto one person. The murmurs grow louder. The doubt spreads like wildfire. Because once a finger is pointed, it's almost impossible to unsee. But here's the twist. This is Weatherfield. And nothing is ever as straightforward as it seems. The spoiler footage is careful. It wants you to believe one thing. It nudges you toward a conclusion. It builds a narrative that feels inevitable. But longtime viewers of Coronation Street know better. The truth is never handed over so easily. As the investigation deepens, cracks begin to show. Alibis don't quite line up. Timelines shift. And that one crucial detail, the one everyone overlooked, starts to take on new meaning. Sarah's memory begins to sharpen. Gary's story begins to unravel. And someone somewhere is getting nervous. Because the real killer is still out there. Watching. Waiting. The final moments of the spoiler videos are the most haunting. A close-up of a face. Calm, almost too calm. A phone call made in secret. A single line, whispered. They're on to me. Cut to black. In Weatherfield, the aftermath of murder isn't just about justice. It's about trust. And right now, trust is in short supply. Because when the finger is pointed, it doesn't just accuse, it divides. It fractures friendships. It turns neighbors into suspects. It forces everyone to ask the same terrifying question. If they could do this, what else are they capable of? One thing is certain, the truth is coming. But when it finally arrives, it won't just change the story. It will change the street forever. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe
Lauren
to Crown
took a breath.
ST.
It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't instant redemption. But it was enough to shift something. Her shoulders dropped slightly, the tension easing just enough for her to think clearly for the first time in days. I'm done, she said finally, her voice steady but quieter than before. First, no one believed her. In Walford, done rarely means done. It usually means a temporary pause before the next round. But Lauren didn't raise her voice again. She didn't throw another accusation. She didn't try to win. She just stopped. The other side of the feud wasn't ready for that. They pushed, prodded, tried to reignite the fire. But without Lauren feeding it, the argument began to collapse under its own weight. The anger had nowhere to go. And in that silence, something unexpected happened. The truth began to surface. Misunderstandings were untangled. Assumptions were challenged. And while it didn't lead to instant forgiveness, it created space. Space for something other than conflict. Later, away from the crowd, Lauren found herself alone with her unlikely ally. Why did you step in? She asked, still trying to make sense of it. They shrugged, a faint smile tugging at their lips. Because no one ever did that for me. It wasn't a grand explanation. But it didn't need to be. In that moment, Lauren understood. Sometimes the people who seem least likely to help are the ones who see you most clearly, because they've been where you are, made the same mistakes, fought the same battles. And sometimes, all it takes is one voice cutting through the noise to remind you that you don't have to keep repeating the same cycle. The feud didn't end with a neat resolution. This was Walford after all. There were still lingering tensions, awkward encounters, and wounds that would take time to heal. But something had changed. Lauren had changed. For once, she hadn't let her anger control her. She hadn't chased victory at any cost. She had chosen something harder, something quieter. She had chosen to walk away. And in a place like Albert Square, that might just be the bravest thing of all. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to EastEnders Spoilers Official.